Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon. In this episode, I will be reviewing the stock-to-flow model that I look at once a year and see how it's done. Back in 2020, if you go up to the upper right-hand corner of the video here, you can see the original critique I had of the model. And once a year, I go check in and see how my prediction is doing. Basically, I said back then that it was doomed to fail. So how are we doing now? Well, after the first year, it looked like it was right on track. The second year started to break down, and the third year, which is right now, it's thoroughly off of its mark. And all indicators show that it's been scraping at the very bottom of the indicator, but it's bounced off the very low point of the indicator. And here's the key thing about the stock to flow model. There is not just one model. There's in fact 3 different models. There's one that we would call the $55,000 model, which is an average price of $55,000, which we should be having right now, or a $100,000 model, average price of $100,000 right now, or the $288,000 model. And this is all made by the same guy, Plan B, who put out these 3 models. And on top of it, each of the 3 models has a huge standard deviation, 2 standard deviations, so allowing a massive leeway in that price. So average price of $55,000, but it could easily go down to, let's say, $20,000. It's still in the ballpark, and it could go up to $100,000. It's still in the ballpark. And then when you have 3 of those models at such different price points, effectively he's got every single price covered from as low as $20,000 to as much as $1 million. And all those price ranges are valid depending on what, and he can just pull out any model and say, haha, see, I predicted it. It's right on track. And that's one of the big problems I have with the model. Despite all that, even his most conservative model, the one that's the 55 model, which he's fallen back on right now recently because, well, he's been doing poorly, even that one is barely keeping up. And as I have been saying all along, the real test will be in the year 2025, 2026, in that zone, when the model starts to accelerate and go up into the 6 figures, $500,000, depending on the model. It goes anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million of an average price. And that's when I will thoroughly declare it dead. A lot of people have already declared the stock to flow model dead right now. In fact, it's been over a year now that they've been declaring it dead, ever since he had made boldly a prediction that it would hit a $100,000 price by the end of, I think it was 2022 or 2021. Anyway, regardless, it completely missed his $100,000 end of year prediction. Ever since then, people have called it dead, as I just noted, because it has such a wide angle of acceptable values. He can continue to declare that his model is valid, and that's exactly what he has been doing. It's up to you to judge, but I think we're going to see that this year it's going to be a year where the stock to flow model will become more interesting as we approach the halving event, where Bitcoin's issuance will decrease in half again. That's going to happen about in April 2024. And when that event happens, I do predict that the price will go up dramatically. How are my predictions doing this year? Well, I predicted at the beginning of this year that the end of the year we would see a price of around $25,000 Bitcoin. When this year began, it was around $16,000 or so. I said I was 99% certain that it would end up at least 10% above that price. And so far, I think we're well above that, and we're not going to revisit the prices of $16,000 by the end of this year. I think we'll be well above the price. I predicted we'd end the year at $25,000. Currently, as I'm recording this, at the very end of May 2023, the price is around $27,800 or so. And I predicted a high of this in this year, 2023. The high would be around 32,000. We've already hit around just over 30,000. There's, I think, a decent chance that we could, maybe by the end of the year, make another push up to that 32,000 level and perhaps even exceed it. But so far, my prediction for this year seems to be more or less reasonable as of the middle of the year, but we've got the other second half of the year and anything can happen. As for next year, 2024, I think it's going to be a gangbuster year. I think it's going to be a very strong year for cryptocurrencies in 2024 and probably even into 2025 as well. Very robust year for both of those. So if you're looking to accumulate, again, not financial advice, this is a good time to start accumulating, because I think we're going to get a nice shot in the arm and it's going to go fairly well. But I will make my official predictions, as always, at the very, very end of every year. That's when I make my official predictions, but that's my sense as of now. One more thing that I forgot to mention. My Ethereum prediction so far this year is not looking too smart. I predicted that we would go as low as $700 when Ethereum is declared a security. I think that will tank the price. So far, that hasn't happened. I also predicted, though, that it would double by the end of the year so that we would see a price around 1,800 or so. Right now, we're at 1,900. So in that sense, if the price remains flat, it will be a good end-of-year prediction, although not seeing those lows that I thought would happen. So we'll see. I think Ethereum is another long-term play, but I think once the United States authorities start to crack down on Ethereum, which I think is a good likelihood, then it could really tank the price temporarily. Long term, though, 5 years out, I think it's got some promise. But Bitcoin has really shown some resilience in being able to diversify itself into other aspects of having NFTs and ordinals and things like that, which I think are very promising. And if the Lightning Network continues its general progress, that could be good as well for it. So I think 2024 is going to be a great year, which means position yourself accordingly. This is Francis Tapon encouraging you to wander and learn. And remember, this is not financial advice. Thanks.